Chapter 10 The Bar and the Old Man. After a few days of traveling at sea, the ship finally reached its destination at 3 p.m. Seeing the city, Adrian couldn't help but complain in his heart. When the book mentions that it had a yellowish fog and a horrible air, I didn't think it would be so bad, he thought as he covers his mouth and nose with a napkin. That's right, Adrian had come to Backland, and the main reason for that was to be able to grow and make some money. Before he left the port, he bought a newspaper from a boy for 1p. Then he got on a public carriage that took him to the Backland Bridge area. Giving 3p to the driver, Adrian started looking for a particular bar. Bingo! He muttered when he saw a building with the sign he was looking for. Braveheart's Bar. Quickly entering the bar, Adrian walked up to the front and sat down in a vacant spot. Looking sideways at the red-haired man who had just entered, the bartender approached while cleaning a cup. "What do you want to drink?" the man asked bluntly. "Southfield beer, please," answered Adrian, without caring about the man's attitude. Nodding at the redhead's choice, the bartender quickly pulled a bottle from a cabinet behind him and poured Adrian a drink. "Here, 5 pence. Taking the coins out of his wallet, Adrian extended his hand to pay the man. The man reached out and picked up the coins, but before he could go to attend to someone else, Adrian stopped him. "I want to see the old man," he said quietly to the bartender. When he said this, the man's face became extremely serious, and he stared at his face, trying to scare him away. "Who are you to look at me like that?" After a while, the bartender looked away and continued to clean another glass. "Second floor, third door on the left," was all he said. Nodding, Adrian quickly grabbed the cup of Southfield beer and drank it all in one gulp before the bartender's stunned eyes. There are advantages to having a party brother. Slamming the empty cup on the table, Adrian quickly ran up the stairs and reached the aforementioned door. Taking a deep breath to calm down a bit, he opened the door and stepped inside. It was a large room with a pool table in the center, where some men were playing, and there were other tables where others were playing cards. All of them had a cold air about them, except one. It was a man who was at the pool table playing. Seeing this, Adrian approached this man with calm steps before the cold eyes of all the other men. "Good afternoon, Mr. Old Man. I'm sorry to bother you, but I require your services," he said as he bowed in front of him.
"Who told you about me?"
Completely ignoring what Adrian had said, he asked. Smiling as he looked at the man, Adrian replied, "Another old man." When he said that, some of those who were playing cards put them down and began to stare at him while one began to growl at him. The old man's eyebrows began to twitch, but he took a breath and looked back at him. "What do you want? I don't have all day." As he said that, he returned his attention to the pool game and prepared to take his turn. "I want you to introduce me to the extraordinary party to participate." When he said that, the old man hit one of the billiard balls and some of the men who were playing cards stood up. Returning his attention to Adrian, the old man looked at him from head to toe multiple times and spoke while looking into his eyes. "You're a little young to deal with that kind of people. It doesn't matter, I want to attend. 2 pounds. Seeing that Adrian didn't care about his opinion, he gave a price. Smiling, Adrian gave him the money, and when the old man checked it and put it in his pocket, he looked at it again. "You're in luck, boy. A party will be held in a few hours. If you like, you can wait here or come back at 2000 hours. I'll stay here if you don't mind," was all that Adrian answered while he sat down in a free chair and took out the newspaper he bought earlier to read it. "I didn't think you were going to stay. Nobody usually takes that option," was what the old man thought, looking at the redhead who was reading. Obviously, Adrian was going to take the option to stay. After all, he still didn't have a place to live. After said hours, the elders turned to Adrian, who had already been reading the newspaper 7 times. "Before we go, tell me if you have something to cover your body and face." "I don't have, so I hope you sell that too, Mr. Old Man," was Adrian's quick response. The old man's eyebrows trembled again, and he took another breath to calm down. £1 for everything. Why don't you ask me to walk barefoot through broken glass?" He inwardly cursed at the price as he gave the old man the money. Now he only had 12 soldi left. After obtaining the mask and cloak, Adrian and the old man left the bar through a back door and headed to the party venue. Arriving in front of a metallic door in an alleyway, the old man approached and gave 3 short blows with an interval of 4 seconds between each one and 2 strong blows with an interval of 2 seconds. After a few moments, a man in a cloak and a mask that reached to the bridge of his nose opened the door. They entered, and the guard closed the door again. In the center of the room, there were several tables quite separated from each other. Some were already occupied. And in front of all of them was a masked man sitting watching as they all sat down in their places. After 15 minutes, and seeing that no one else arrived, the frontman got up from his chair and spoke. Seeing that some friends didn't make it, we'll start the party. For the new members, allow me to welcome you and introduce myself. I am Mr. Eye of Wisdom. Finally was all Adrian thought with a smile when the party finally started. It was time to make some money. 11 Chapter 11. You want it, I have it. If there is any formula that you want to verify for a fee, I can do it. When he finished saying that, Mr. Eye of Wisdom sat down, and another man got up and made a request. This is how time passed, one transaction after another. Adrian began to worry that the person he was looking for had not attended the party, and this would cause him many problems. After a little while and one successful transaction, a masked woman rose from her seat. I'm looking for the barbarian formula. Is there anyone who has it? I'm willing to pay with pounds or something of equivalent value, was the lady's request. There you are, beautiful lady, was what Adrian thought with great joy upon hearing the woman's request, since she was exactly who he was looking for. Looking around, the woman hoped someone spoke, but seeing that no one said anything, she sighed in defeat and was about to sit down, but she just heard someone speak. I got it. The lady quickly looked for the person who spoke and saw a man with his left arm raised wearing a coat and a mask on his face. How much do you want for it? Asked the woman with barely contained anxiety. She had been looking for the formula for months and was finally about to obtain it. 400 pounds. Would you like Mr. Eye of Wisdom to verify it? Deal, and yes, was the quick response of the woman. A masked worker brought him paper and a pen on a tray. Adrian took it, wrote the formula on it and folded it, and placed it on the tray again. Then the worker took the tray with a note to Mr. Eye of Wisdom. When the worker got to the man's side, he put the tray on a table next to him. Lord Wisdom, I then took out a ring from a silver container. It is a ring encrusted with many tiny diamonds. It is complicated and exquisite in design. In the middle of the ring is a dark green gem that looks like an eye, and just looking at it made Adrian feel like a teenager again as he took his chemistry test. Mr. Eye of Wisdom put it in his left hand and quickly placed it on top of the note without opening it. Valid, was all he said before quickly removing the ring and placing it back in the container. So the worker took the tray with the note and took it to the lady. She then placed the 400 pounds on the tray and took the note with the formula and wasted no time in opening and reading it. Potion Formula Sequence 8. Barbarian. Main ingredients. Asterisk grass of madness. Asterisk core horn crystal of a land rhinoceros. Supplementary ingredients. Asterisk 1 deep-grained walnut.
Stjerne 1 fragrance græs.
Asterisk 10 ml of the extract obtained from soaking poplar bark. Asterisk 100 ml of liquor. Sighing happily, the woman put the note away. She finally had the formula. When Adrian received the money and counted it, he got up and spoke. I'm selling the formula for briber. Is anyone interested? This caused the woman who had just bought the formula for barbarian to freeze. After searching so long for the barbarian formula, she didn't think that the briber formula would appear so fast, and she didn't want to miss the opportunity. But there was a problem. She had no more money. Cursing internally, she still decided to give it a try after all who knew how long it would take her to find the formula again. I want it, but I don't have money. I don't know if you would be interested in a weapon of a similar level. I'm sorry, but now I only need pounds, but I'll be here at the next meeting, so bring 800 pounds at that time, and the formula is yours. Upon hearing this, a weight was lifted from the lady's back, and she simply nodded. She had the money in her house. But Adrian still wasn't done, and he made another request. I'm looking for the hunter formula. Is there anyone selling it? Here was Adrian's shot at heaven. The fact of getting money was the main reason for coming to this party, but if he managed to get the formula for Hunter, he would have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. When she heard this, the woman who had promised to come to the meeting next time raised her arm. "I have it, it will be 200 pounds, was what she said. "Deal, Mr. Eye of Wisdom. Please notify the formula," Adrian said simply, while in his mind he was screaming with joy. After the previous process was repeated, Adrian paid the 200 pounds to the lady and the 20 pounds to Mr. Eye of Wisdom. Holding the note with the formula in his hands, Adrian sighed and opened the note. Potion Formula Sequence 9. Hunter. Main ingredients. Asterisk every drop of blood from an abyss demon fish. Asterisk 50 grams of panther blood crystal. Supplementary ingredients. Asterisk 100 ml of purified water. Asterisk 7 red mint leaves. Asterisk 5 drops of July wine juice. Asterisk 9 grams of dragon blood grass powder. Closing the note again, Adrian put it in his pocket and just waited for the party to end. After 1 hour, 3 unsuccessful and 1 successful deal were made. While this was going on, Mr. Eye of Wisdom rang a bell and got up from his chair. "The party is over now. You will proceed to leave one by one. So wait your turn." Fortunately, there were no big exchanges, but Adrian and the old man were the second to leave the party through one of the 5 different exits. They then returned to the billiards room on the 2nd floor of Braveheart's bar, where the old man told him how to know when the next meeting was through the newspaper and how to read the password in the advertising part. Then Adrian bowed and asked if he could sleep in there for the night. Mr. Old Man accepted and allowed him to sleep on top of the pool table as long as he cleaned the whole room before leaving. On the morning of the next day, Adrian left. 5 minutes after Adrian left in the room next to the pool room, there was a man who was alone. He is about 28 years old, with a pale face and mischievous brown eyes, wearing a white shirt and a black vest. "Who is it that spoke to the old man?" asked the man in the air. Suddenly a woman was reflected in the window and came out like a ghost. She was a young woman with a pale face, blonde hair, blue eyes, and delicate features. She was wearing a black Gothic royal dress and a soft hat. "Just someone curious," was all she said before sitting on a chair like a doll. Getting back to Adrian, now that he had money, he was finally looking for a house to live in during the time he would stay in Backlund. After getting into another carriage, Adrian asked the driver to take him to a company that does apartment rentals. After a series of annoying transactions and annoying landlords, Adrian was finally inside his new house in a middle-class neighborhood in Backlund after making a deposit for half a year of 25 pounds, which left him with 155 pounds. Putting his blue suitcase in a corner, Adrian took out the note with the formula of Hunter again. It was time to get the ingredients. Hello, Happy New Year to everyone reading this. Author here. I just want to say thanks for the support. If you could leave comments, I will be very happy because I would love to read your thoughts on my book and opinions on how this is going. I invented Hunter's formula because it has not yet been revealed. Tell me your opinions about it and if you like it. Thanks again and Happy New Year. 12 Chapter 12. The Hunter and a New Problem Arise. Quickly 3 days passed, and one could see Adrian at home looking at his table that was full of ingredients. The supplementary ingredients had been very easy to get. He only had to go to a pharmaceutical store to get them, and he got the July wine juice from a bar, while the panther blood crystal had to go to a jewelry store. The only ingredient that was a problem was the blood of the abyss demon fish, but after going to a port and promising a fisherman 30 pounds to get it for him, he brought it to him the next day. Money certainly moves the world, Adrian murmured, looking at the blood in the vial on the table. It was blackish with a dark aura. According to the fisherman, the blood of this fish could be used to make a poison capable of killing a horse in less than 3 minutes. Sighing, Adrian went to his kitchen and took out a pot from it. After washing it deeply and waiting for it to dry, he placed it on the table. Guided by the book, the first thing he placed were the supplementary ingredients, the 100 milliliters of purified water. Then he placed the 7 red mint leaves, the 9 grams of dragon grass powder, and the 5 drops of July wine juice. When the last drop of the juice fell into the liquid, it quickly turned brown. Now came the main ingredients. Adrian grabbed the vial with the abyss demon fish's blood and poured it into the pot. This caused the previous brown liquid to turn black and very thick. Quickly, Adrian grabbed the last ingredient, which was the panther blood crystal, and placed it in the pot. At first, nothing happened. The red crystal remained floating in the thick black liquid without changing anything. This scared Adrian a lot, thinking that when placing the ingredients he had made a mistake. But suddenly the crystal was rapidly melting into the black liquid, causing it to turn reddish-brown and become more liquid. Realizing that the potion was ready, Adrian grabbed the pot and poured the finished potion into a cup he had ready. And just like in the book, there wasn't a remnant of the potion left in the pot. Holding the potion in his hands, Adrian's heart was beating with great force. Once he drank this, his life could never be normal, and he would live the rest of his life on the edge of the abyss. But this is already a crazy world that is rapidly falling into the same abyss. Why better than waiting for the gods to protect him when the end comes? Wouldn't it be better for him to have the power to protect himself when the abyss falls on this world? Adrian quickly closed his eyes and began to meditate to calm his anxiety. This caused him not to see how the yellowish smoke that had entered his body while he was sleeping quickly entered the potion, making it somewhat brighter. When Adrian decided that he was ready, he drank the potion without noticing that it was a little brighter than before. The potion was so thick it seemed to stick to the throat and had an extremely bitter taste that made Adrian almost spit it out. But he ignored this discomfort and swallowed the entire potion, leaving nothing in the cup. He almost immediately felt his body begin to heat up rapidly, so he entered a lotus meditation posture. He quickly began to outline a sphere of light in his mind as he felt his body heat up even more, and he began to feel pain. When he thought that his body couldn't get any warmer and the pain threatened to take him out of the meditative state, it diminished rapidly. When the pain disappeared, he still did not come out of the meditative state but decided to wait a little longer. Suddenly, the sphere of light that he was outlining in his mind disappeared and was replaced by a large city that had yellowish smoke around it. Adrian found himself standing in the doorway admiring this strange city. This city is very similar to Asuncion in my previous life. Wait, what's happening? I was supposed to be meditating to accommodate the potion. Adrian thought, alarmed when he realized that something had gone wrong. He shouldn't be here. Adrian could see that it also seemed to be inhabited by human-like beings. These seemed to be beings of fire dressed in rusty red armor that patrolled the city, protecting it from any threat that would approach. Suddenly, all these beings stopped their patrol, turned to look at Adrian, and made a military salute towards him. This causes his meditation state to be broken, and he returned to his body. What was that? Was the first thing that Adrian said to the air. But when he saw that he had returned to his body, he calmed down a little. Feeling his body, Adrian noted that he had grown much stronger physically, and his senses had become sharper. Looking around him, he suddenly got multiple ideas for setting traps around and inside his house. So this is a beyonder. As he said that, he clenched his fist, feeling the new strength that he now possessed. Smelling stinky, Adrian went to his bathroom. He was covered in sweat and had a strong odor, so he went to take a shower. Coming out of his shower, Adrian walks into his room with a towel around his waist and looks at himself in his bedroom mirror. Adrian was quite tall, at a proud 1.84 m. His body was already muscular. Only now he looked stronger than before, and he had several scars all over it, and his necklace was hanging on his chest. Looking at his face, Adrian could tell that he was quite handsome, and his reddish-brown eyes and red hair gave him an exotic touch. Putting on a pair of pants, Adrian sat on his bed and thought about what he had seen in his meditation. If I'm not mistaken, that should be the City of Calamities. But how is it possible? Isn't it supposed to be sealed in the Western continent? And how did I accommodate it so easily? Am I the plan B of some unknown existence that was able to take me out of my world and bring me here? Knowing that the more he tried to understand what was happening could end up killing him, Adrian could only put it in the back of his mind and deal with it later. The problem now will be to digest the potion as quickly as possible before some, which is attracted to me. A decent part of the potion is already digested. It must be from the trap against Thames and how I killed him. So, one of the rules of acting for the hunter is to know your prey well, set a trap according to the prey, and hunt the prey. Sensing a slight hint of digestion, Adrian knew he was correct and quickly changed into his suit and headed to Braveheart's bar. It was time to act. 13 Chapter 13 The Hunters' Club. Arriving at the Braveheart's bar, Adrian again asked to see the old man. Being in the same room on the second floor, Adrian entered and saw that the old man was still with the same cold people, but this time there was someone new. He is about 28 years old, with a pale face and malicious brown eyes. He was wearing a white shirt and a black vest. Glancing sideways at this person, Adrian returned his gaze to the old man. "A pleasure to see you, Mr. Merrick," greeted Adrian in his mind before speaking to the old man. "I'm looking to join hunting clubs. I'm looking for one that continually goes out on hunts and has target practice." Looking at the red-haired man, the old man could tell that he now had a stronger aura. "That will be 14 sols for the search, and the information will be given to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Nodding, Adrian handed him the money, and before leaving he turned to see Merrick and gave him a nod. Merrick just looked at him, and he left. When Adrian left, he took advantage and bought a newspaper for another boy to read at home. Arriving home while Adrian was eating meat and rice with white bread and black coffee for lunch, he was reading the newspaper in search of publicity for the next extraordinary party. Finding the ad, and using the method that the old man taught him, he read that the next party would be in 3 days at 5 p.m. Nodding, Adrian finished eating and didn't wait until the next day. Tomorrow, at 9 a.m. Adrian had returned to the bar and met with the elder again, and he gave him the information he wanted. Reading it, Adrian saw that there were a good number of clubs that fit his criteria, but only 3 caught his attention. Red Foxes, a club that has 100 years of history and a good reputation. The grandson of the founder is the current leader of the club. They go hunting every 3 days in the forest armed with hunting rifles, and their shooting practices are in the top 10 of the list, and membership to the club is £90. Stanley. It is the oldest club on the list with a history of 300 years and has several members who are nobles. They go hunting every 4 days on horses and hunting weapons. Their shooting ranges are the best on the entire list, and they provide a vast majority of other services. Their subscription is £200. The Classics. It is a club that has a somewhat young history of 70 years, and they're the ones that go hunting more often, being that they go every day, but their hunting methods are the most curious because they only use traps and not weapons. That's why they're allowed to go hunting so often, and their shooting ranges are decent. They don't have many members. Their subscription is £60. Adrian didn't think much and decided on the Classics, and checking its location, he quickly went to the club. It was a 2-story building with a sign that said the name of the club. Entering the building, he saw a man behind a desk reading a book, ignoring everything around him. Because his senses had been sharpened by the potion, Adrian could see the details of the man and the name of the book. Stormwind Mountain Villa. Adrian's eyebrows trembled, but he kept his expression calm and took a closer look at the man's appearance. He was a 27-year-old man with a delicate face and blonde hair, and his eyes were soft. "Very handsome, if I'm honest," thought Adrian. Approaching the desk with calm steps, the blonde man finally noticed his presence and quickly put the book away with a little embarrassment. "Welcome, sir, to the Classics. How can I help you?" "I am looking to join the club. I wonder if it is with you that I have to ask about it." This took the blonde a bit by surprise, but he snapped out of it and responded enthusiastically. "Yes, sir. Please wait while I take out the papers." Said that the blonde stood up, allowing him to see his height of 1.72 m, and he opened a cabinet behind him, taking out a small stack of papers from it. Placing it in front of him, Adrian the blonde told him what it contained. "These are the rules, regulations, and services provided by the club. If you agree to follow them, you can join without any problem after paying the subscription." Picking up the small stack of papers, Adrian nodded to the blonde and began to read them calmly. There was nothing out of the ordinary, and the rules were something any club had, and the services were exactly what Adrian was looking for. Seeing that there was nothing strange about them, he handed the stack back to the blonde and agreed to join. This visibly cheered the blonde. Perfect, sir, it would be £60, and you will become an official member. Taking the money out of his wallet, Adrian handed the money over to the blonde. Perfect, please tell me your name, so I can put it on your identification card. Adrian Kenway. Saying that, the blonde quickly wrote the name on a gray card and handed it to Adrian. Welcome to the Classics Hunting Club. I introduce myself. I'm Robert Patino. It's a pleasure to have you as a member. While saying this, he extended his hand, which was just as delicate as his face. Holding the hand, Adrian shook it. The pleasure is mine, Mr. Robert. If you like, you can go upstairs to meet some of the members present, or you can also go to the next room to meet the shooting instructor, Mr. Grievous. I'll go meet the other members first, then I'll meet Mr. Grievous. Perfect. The stairs to the second floor are down the hall to the left, and again a pleasure to meet you. Nodding to Mr. Robert, Adrian made his way to the second floor at a leisurely pace. When he went up, he saw a large room with walls lined with the heads of different animals that the club had hunted, with a cabinet full of drinks on one side and some pool tables, which about 3 men were talking and playing. When they saw Adrian arrive, they stopped their conversation and began to approach him. The 3 of them looked like they were 30 years old, but they had strong bodies. One of them was with the arms of the shirt rolled up with a gray vest and a well-groomed beard. Another with only a simple shirt. And the last one wore a black vest with a well-ironed shirt. Giving a small bow, the redhead introduced himself with a small smile. A pleasure to meet you. I am Adrian Kenway. I hope we can get along. 14 Chapter 14. Meeting New People. While they looked at Adrian, 2 of them started whispering among themselves, but thanks to the senses brought by the potion, Adrian could hear them loud and clear. It certainly has been a while since a new member joined us. You're right, Charles, and also a young one. It's a bit rude not to introduce ourselves to Mr. Adrian. Realizing this disrespect, the other men turned their attention back to Adrian. Sorry for that offense. Allow me to introduce myself.
I'm Charles Brown.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Adrian. Mr. Charles was the man with the gray vest and well-groomed beard. Please excuse the manners, comrade. I'm Victor Magnus. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Adrian. Mr. Victor was the man in the simple shirt. Leaving these aside, I introduced myself. I am Isaac Rumi, and I am the current owner of the club. Welcome, Mr. Adrian. Mr. Isaac was the one who wore the black vest with the well-ironed shirt. Adrian gave a slight bow. It is also a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Isaac, Mr. Charles, and Mr. Victor. I hope we can get along well. This made Isaac smile while Charles and Victor just nodded. Would you like to play some pool with us, so we can get to know each other a little better? Adrian turned to look at the clock, and seeing that it was just 11 o'clock, he agreed. While playing with them, Adrian was able to learn a little about each one, and a little more about the missing members of the club, which according to Isaac were around 8. Victor was a 32-year-old single man who believed in the Lord of Storms, and every chance he got he would proclaim his belief. Charles was a 31-year-old married man who was expecting his first child in December and was a believer in the God of knowledge and wisdom. While Isaac was 40 years old, married with 2 sons and a daughter, he was a believer in the Evernight goddess. Honestly, it was very curious that a believer in the Lord of Storms and another believer in the Evernight goddess would get along so well, but Adrian was not one to judge. He had seen worse. After playing for about 2 hours and losing several times, Adrian said goodbye to the 3 of them and went back to Robert. Looking at the blonde, Adrian saw that he was reading Stormwind Mountain Villa again. When Robert noticed that someone had entered the room, quickly put the book under the desk. Seeing that it was Adriana, this managed to calm him down a bit. Hello again, Mr. Adrian. You seem to have gotten along well with Mr. Isaac, Mr. Charles, and Mr. Victor. Hello, Mr. Robert. Yes, it seems that they were quite kind to me, which makes me happy. That's good. I'm glad you got along. And then tell me, Mr. Adrian, what do you need from me? I would like to go with Mr. Grievous for target practice. Or then go down the right hallway and down to the basement. That's where he teaches. Thanking Robert for the instructions, Adrian went to the basement and managed to see that it was very open and conditioned for target practice. An older man was sitting in a chair against the wall as he read the newspaper, ignorant of his surroundings. This man looked 40 years old and was already bald and had a short, elegant mustache and seemed to have a monocle over his left eye. This almost made Adrian grab the handle of his revolver under his jacket on reflex. Taking quick breaths to calm down, Adrian approached the supposed Mr. Grievous. Only when Adrian was next to the man did he seem to notice his presence. Folding the newspaper and putting it on his lap, Grievous gave Adrian an annoyed look. "What do you want, brat? Can't you see I'm reading? If you want to use the shooting range ahead, just don't bother me." When he finished saying that, he opened the newspaper again. This caused Adrian to just stare at him in shock with his eyebrow twitching in annoyance. A bald and embittered old man, just my luck. "I'm sorry, Mr. Grievous, but in fact, I'm here for you to teach me how to shoot." This caused Grievous to refold the journal and place it on a table next to him. "Okay, Brett, tell me, do you have your own revolver, or are you going to rent one from the club?" "I have my own revolver." "Well, I can teach you every day for 2 hours starting at 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. If it's not at that time, I'm sorry, it's not my problem." This almost made Adrian lose his mind, and he wanted to jump on the bald old man who was bothering him so much. How come those simple insults bothered him so much? He had received much worse ones, but those never bothered him as much as this old man. "Wait, my condition is not normal. Those words would never have bothered me, but why do they now?" Noticing his condition, Adrian took a breath to calm down and think better. Understanding what was happening, Adrian just smiled at Grievous, causing him to be slightly surprised. "Sounds like a good deal to me. So, let's start, Mr. Grievous." Snapping out of his surprise, Grievous gave Adrian a sharp smile. "I won't be a gentle brat. I don't expect it to be." Adrian responded with an equally sharp smile. "Where are you supposed to aim? Do you want to hit someone?" "Snotty brat, my newborn granddaughter has a better aim than you. Let me stand in front of the target since that is the safest place here." And so the 2 hours passed, and Grievous, for every shot that Adrian missed, followed him with an insult. But Adrian didn't miss too badly. It seems the potion helped his aim, and he only missed 7 of the 40 shots he fired. But those that missed the target, Grievous made sure to remember. "Well, brat, class time is up. You didn't do too bad, so I'll be waiting for you tomorrow." When Grievous said that, he went to his chair, sat back down, and went back to reading the newspaper. Stowing the revolver in its holster under his left armpit, Adrian nodded. And as he went up the stairs to leave the basement, Adrian turned to look at Grievous and gave him a very sharp smile. "I will wait for your classes, Mr. Provoker." When he said that, Adrian went back up the stairs without looking back to see how Grievous dropped the journal in shock as he turned to see his back. As Adrian left, Grievous smiled, picked up the journal, and read it again. "What an interesting brat," he said to the air while reading. "Good morning, guys, author here. Today I am extremely inspired, and I am going to post another 8 chapters before the end of the day, so we will see each other in a bit. Besides, I'm sorry if some conversations feel weird. I'm not good at writing them. If you have any advice, feel free to write it in the comments. I'll be happy to read them. And thanks to Fern_Ando for supporting the story and for the funny comments." 15 Chapter 15 A Commission to Meet Miss Sheriff. When Adrian came out of the basement, he said goodbye to Robert and left the club. Taking another public carriage, Adrian headed back to Braveheart's bar. Entering the bar, which was quite lively, he turned to the bartender and again asked to speak to the old man. The old man was still in the same room as always, and Merrick was still with him playing cards with his zombies. It's like watching Naruto play cards with his clones, kind of sad honestly. Doesn't Miss Sharon like to play cards? Insulting Merrick in his mind without him realizing it, Adrian nodded to him again, but was ignored again. Without giving importance to that, Adrian addressed the old man again. "What do you want now?" The old man asked with annoyance, since Adrian always seemed to look for him like a lost puppy. "I want to leave a commission to meet a person." Adrian didn't care at all for the old man's tone and stated his reason for coming to see him. "Well, do you have any details about the person you're looking for or information that would be useful in finding them?" "It's a woman. She is very short, 152 centimeters in height. She has soft facial features, making her appear to be young and immature. She has shoulder-length blonde hair, and although is messy and unkempt, she carries an indescribable look of dignity and a convincing charm. She also has malt-colored skin and frequents East Backland a lot, and her name is Xiao. The old man didn't expect Adrian to have so many details about the person he was looking for, and even Merrick couldn't help but stop looking at his cards and stare at the redhead. But the redhead didn't care about the look of the two, and kept talking. The commission consists of bringing her here to Braveheart's bar so that I can meet her, and as a reward, it will be 20 pounds. I will be here every afternoon from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Coming out of surprise, the old man stared at the redhead before sighing. It will be £1 for the commission to be published. Adrian gave him the money and left, but not before saying goodbye to Merrick, nodding his head, but he ignored him again while he continued playing cards with his zombies. Returning to his house, Adrian went back into his room and prepared himself a steak, and while he ate his late lunch, the redhead began to think about the plan to follow. Mr. Eye of Wisdom's next party would be in 2 days, so he still had time. The hunter potion only had less than half left to digest, so by using the club to legally go hunting, he could digest it during this week or half of next week. Today was Monday, June 5th, 1349. 9 days had passed since he woke up in that cave. There was little more than a month left before Mr. Fool fell from the Sapphira Castle. He had to find a way to join the Tarot Club for the formulas, materials, information, and money. Adrian was not even going to dare to look for the card of blasphemy that was being guarded by a certain evil spirit. Joining the hunting club got a surprise when he met Mr. Grievous, who was a provoker, so the following formula was assured as long as he was willing to sell it. The fact of meeting Xiao was nothing more than her taking him to the party organized by Mr. A. Obviously, Adrian was going to pay her for it, so he didn't have to worry too much about it. With all that planned, Adrian left the house again, and taking a public carriage again, he headed to the forest to hunt. When it was 1800 hours, Adrian managed to reach the forest. He was dressed in a black vest and a simple shirt with his revolver under his left armpit, and he was wearing a belt full of everything he would need for hunting. He had gone shopping for hunting clothes and hunting tools in the 3 days he had searched for the ingredients for the potion. Going deeper into the forest, Adrian wasted no time in beginning to survey his hunting ground. When he was still Joa, he always wanted to be a hunter, and he had read several books regarding hunting, but when he reached the age of 16 years old, his taste changed, and he was studying to become an architect like his grandfather. Leaving the past behind, he could use the knowledge of those books to his advantage now. A hunter always has to be aware of his surroundings and always has to be careful not to become the prey. Sensing signs of digestion, Adrian knew he had found another of the rules of acting. After learning his hunting ground well, Adrian began to look for signs of animals in his surroundings. It didn't take him long to find poop from what appeared to be a deer. Quickly using the hunter's tracking skills, Adrian managed to find the area where the deer was most active. Pulling out the hunting tools, Adrian quickly set up several traps to catch the deer. Climbing to the top of a nearby tree, Adrian waited for the deer to pass through his traps. And so time passed, and 6 hours passed that Adrian waited. When they were about to spend 7 hours, a large deer ran past Adrian's traps, activating them. This caused the animal to be suspended upside down in the air, with no chance of escape. Adrian, who had been waiting, quickly jumped out of the tree and plunged his hunting knife into the deer's neck, causing the animal's rapid death. Adrian quickly gutted, skinned, and cut what meat he could take with him. He took down what was left of the deer's body and buried it. A hunter does not waste a prey and takes all he can of it. Another of the rules for acting as a hunter was that a hunter has to be patient and wait for the right moment to strike. Another good part of the potion was digested due to hunting, and because he managed to discover all the acting rules of the hunter. 2 more hunts, and the potion would be fully digested. With everything packed up, Adrian proceeded to leave the forest at 1 a.m. and headed home. This time he had to walk home because the public carriages were only available until 2200 hours. It took him an hour and a half to get home, and the first thing he did was put away the deer meat and skin and laid out to work with during the week. Taking a shower, Adrian headed to his bed and quickly fell asleep after a productive day. Chapter 16. Bad luck, try again tomorrow. When morning came, a ray of sun fell directly on Adrian's face through the window, which caused him to wake up. Fuck you, son, thought the redhead. Being a hunter, his body had become stronger, so despite yesterday's activity, Adrian woke up full of energy, but this didn't mean he didn't like sleeping. Dressing in a white shirt and a gray vest, and placing the revolver under his left armpit as always, Adrian headed to the club. After entering and greeting Robert, who was still reading the book, he headed to the second floor. Charles, Isaac, and Victor were playing cards at one of the tables in the back while they drank some wine. When they saw him, they greeted him and invited him to play with them, so Adrian accepted. While they were playing, Adrian took advantage and tried to bring up topics of conversation. So, tell me how things went for you yesterday? They have gone relatively well. My wife continues to ask for strange foods, but I always try to satisfy her taste. Once a few weeks ago, she asked me for ice cream mixed with steak and fruit salad on a plate. It's fascinating how pregnancy affects a woman's brain, causing her to have such curious cravings. This should be studied more, was Charles's response before he began to babble about different studies that could be done related to pregnancy. Seeing that Charles was lost in his own world, Adrian looked at Isaac and Victor, seeing what things they had to tell. Honestly, my older children could not make me more proud. They are studying at a university in Tianjin, and it is almost certain that they will be able to get a well-paying job when they finish their studies, and my daughter is still in school, although she will soon be graduate. She is obsessed with mechanics, and I hope she can develop that talent when she grows up, was Isaac's response before returning his attention to the game. I don't know how you can deal with such weird women. Women should stay home and take care of the children instead of thinking about things they don't understand. It was a comment from Victor showing that he was undoubtedly a true believer in the Lord of Storms. After many games in which Charles always won, if they had played for money, Charles would have taken every penny, which shows his IQ, a worthy believer in the God of knowledge and wisdom. When 12:50 arrived, Adrian said goodbye to the men who were preparing to leave somewhere. Going down to the firing range, Adrian saw Grievous, who was shooting at the targets quite easily. It seems that age has not yet fully reached you, Mr. Grievous. Brad, shut up and get ready to practice. Show me if you remember what I taught you yesterday. With pleasure. After an hour of practice, Grievous made Adrian take a break. Not bad, Brat. This time you fired 15 shots in a row on target. Now we can try a more distant target. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Grievous. It was not a compliment, and now get your butt up and the break is over. This time the target was 25 meters away, and Adrian only managed to hit 29 of 40 shots. I'm done with class. I'll see you tomorrow, and you better do better than today's disaster. Nodding, Adrian left the shooting range, and saying goodbye to Robert, who was still reading the book, he headed to Braveheart's bar. Entering the bar, which was somewhat quiet for 4 p.m., Adrian went and sat at a table prepared in the far right corner of the bar to wait for the sheriff. But as time passed, no one with Zio's characteristics entered the door, but this did not bother Adrian. After all, a hunter had to be patient above all things. 11 p.m. arrived, and no one managed to bring Zio, and Adrian left the bar and headed home. Entering the kitchen, he cooks the deer that he hunted yesterday and accompanies it with a glass of water. It must be because he was the one who hunted the deer, but this food tasted especially delicious. After eating everything and washing the silverware, Adrian took a bath and went to sleep. On the morning of Wednesday the 7th, Adrian woke up and, getting ready, returned to the club. Greeting Robert, who was still reading the book that was making Adrian want to read it to see what it was all about. When he went up, he saw that apparently no one was there. Going down and heading towards Robert, he asked him where they were. Oh, they must have forgotten to tell you, but they have issues with their jobs, so they won't be able to attend the club for a few days. And what about Mr. Grievous? Is he available in the morning? I'm sorry, Mr. Adrian, but Mr. Grievous is not available today either. He will just be back tomorrow. That old man told me to come, and in the end, it turns out that it is his day off. Then I'm going out again. Mr. Robert, I'll see you again tomorrow. Nodding to Adrian's words, Robert returned to his reading. Seeing that it was barely 7 a.m. and that he only had to be at the Bravehearts bar at 4 p.m., Adrian quickly went to the bar to let them know that today he would be at the bar at 8 p.m. regarding the commission. After that, Adrian quickly went home and grabbed his hunting gear to go back to the forest. It was 8:30 in the morning when Adrian arrived at the forest. This time Adrian was planning to do one more hunt before going to Mr. Eye of Wisdom's party. So going deeper than last time, Adrian, after spending an hour analyzing the terrain and finding the trail of 2 large animals. After identifying the tracks of one of the animals, an extremely crazy idea came to his head. The first thing he did before starting it up was to see the tools he had with him and see that everything was in order. He also checked his revolver and made sure it was loaded. Quickly following the trail of the animal, Adrian managed to find it. This one was trying to catch fish in a small lake in the woods. This was a large animal covered in black fur and Adrian's current prey. Adrian was planning to hunt a bear. Chapter 17. Man vs. Bear. Seeing the size of the bear, Adrian wondered if he had gone completely crazy to do what he was going to do. But realizing his own weakness and how he wanted to be sequence 7 before Mr. Fool brought all kinds of problems to Backlund, he decided that he needed to be faster. So, meditating to calm down quickly, he went into the forest to prepare the welcome for the bear. After an hour, when the bear was frustrated that he couldn't catch any fish, Adrian came out to the plain with a wooden spear that he had sharpened. Seeing this, the bear began to growl as a warning, but this hardly matters to Adrian, who simply stopped about 30 meters away from the bear, causing it to growl more loudly. With his heart beating rapidly and all his senses wide open, Adrian prepared himself for the third most crazy thing he had done since he woke up in this world. He grabbed a good-sized stone from the ground and threw it into the bear's face. This caused the bear to let out a loud roar and chase after Adrian. Seeing this, the redhead smiled and ran into the forest, always making sure the bear followed him. The bear would never know that he had fallen for Adrian's first trap being provocation. After a few seconds of running through the forest with the bear on his heels, Adrian made a great leap to a tree holding onto a branch. Seeing this, the bear tried to ram the trunk, but before reaching it, he tripped over a rope that was stretched out and trapped his legs. Adrian did not miss this and jumped on the bear's back, stabbing him multiple times with his wooden spear. Only because of the strength increased by the hunter's potion was Adrian able to deal damage to the bear with the wooden spear. It didn't take long for the bear to break free and began to jerk Adrian off his back. But Adrian plunged the spear into the bear's back again and used it as a support for the bear's movements. The bear roared in pain, and seeing that the annoying human didn't fall, he decided on another option. Suddenly, he began to throw his back against the trees to try to crush the cockroach that was on his back. Adrian ripped the spear from the bear's back and jumped off the bear's back and quickly rolled not to waste a moment and started running again in another direction, and the bear, seeing red now, went after the redhead again, only now with more fury and energy than before. Just when he was less than 8 meters from the redhead, he cut a rope that was lying against a tree. This caused a large number of leaves to cover the bear's view, preventing him from seeing the redhead. Adrian did not miss the opportunity and continued to stab the bear with the spear and always moved without staying in one place. Suddenly, when he stabbed the bear's side again, the spear broke and the bear took the opportunity to charge Adrian, but he dodged it without any problem. Running to the other side, only faster now, Adrian reached a plain and took a great leap that allowed him to cross a great distance. When he touched the ground again, Adrian stopped running and turned to look at the bloody bear that was charging toward him. But he simply stood still, taking off an imaginary hat as he made a bow that he maintained no matter how closer the bear got. When the bear was 3 meters from Adrian, the floor, where the bear was collapsed, and he fell on it. Dropping the bow, Adrian walked over to the hole and looked down at the bear that was impaled on multiple wooden spikes at the bottom of it. But despite everything, the bear was still alive but without the possibility of leaving or fighting. Seeing this, Adrian took out his revolver and pointed it at the head of the dying bear. "Thanks for your help." When he said that, Adrian fired 4 quick shots into the bear's front, causing the bear's head to open like a flower, killing it and freeing it from its suffering. Adrian closed his eyes and felt like a warm summer breath crossed his entire body at the same time that he heard the roar of a panther. The hunter potion had been completely digested. The hunt had been a complete success, and with each trap, the bear had fallen into the potion was digested a bit more, and when the bear fell into the spike trap, the potion had almost been digested. It was when Adrian blinded the bear's life that the potion had been fully digested. Looking at the bear's body in the hole, Adrian sighed and went down to skin it. One of his rules was not to waste the prey and to take what one can of it. At 1 p.m. at Adrian's house, he was admiring his new bearskin rug and couldn't help but pat himself on the back. The carpet gave a nice touch to his house. Looking at the table, one could see the bear's claws and fangs. That was the most he could carry. The rest he buried in the same hole. After putting everything in its place, Adrian took a shower and headed to his room. In the middle of this, Adrian could feel the changes that the digestion of the potion had brought, and they were very significant. His senses sharpened even more, and his strength increased again as well. He could tell that the speed and ease with which he could cheat had increased greatly. Sighing, Adrian simply went to the kitchen to make himself lunch while he waited for 5 p.m. He took advantage and opened the newspaper that he had bought to read while he ate. Mysterious murders in East Backland already count 13 victims, and mysterious disease takes the lives of 4 people. Sighing, Adrian put the newspaper aside, quickly finished his meal, and began to set more traps around his house. It seems that the witches had already arrived. When 5 p.m. arrived, Adrian arrived covered in his mask and cloak. Standing in front of the door, Adrian raised his hand and gave 3 long blows with an interval of 2 seconds and 9 short blows with an interval of 5 seconds. The door was opened and Adrian entered and, arriving at the room, sat down at a table on the sides to wait for the party to start. What's up, guys? Author here. What do you think of Adrian's hunt against the bear? I tried to show all the advantages and disadvantages that man has when facing beasts bigger than him and how he has to use his mind to win. I hope it was shown in the fight and that you liked it. And it looks like trouble has come to Adrian's doorstep. What do you think will happen? Wait for the next chapters, and maybe you'll find out. And as always, remember to leave a comment that motivates me to continue writing this story. There are still 4 chapters left, so I'll see you in a while. 18 Chapter 18. The Pain of Being Poor. After a while, and seeing that no more participants arrived, Mr. Eye of Wisdom got up from his seat. Seeing that our friends couldn't make it, we can't wait any longer, so the party can start. As soon as he finished saying that, the woman from the last time quickly got up from her seat. Is the gentleman with the briber formula here? Here I am. Did you bring the money? Seeing this, the woman visibly relaxed and quickly said yes. Would you like Mr. Eye of Wisdom to verify the formula? Yes, please. Seeing this, Mr. Eye of Wisdom couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The party is just starting and I already have to verify something. Adrian wrote the formula on a note by folding it and placing it on a worker's tray. The worker went to Mr. Eye of Wisdom and placed him next to him. He took the same ring out of the silver container again and placed it on her left hand, then placed it on top of the note. Valid. As soon as he said that, he took off and put the ring back in the container. The worker quickly took the tray and brought it to the woman's side. Seeing this, the woman quickly took out the 800 pounds and placed it on the tray and took the note with Briber's formula and opened it to read it. Potion Formula Sequence 7. Briber. Main ingredients. *1 Weeping infant flower. *strange-faced cannabis crystal. Supplementary ingredients. *5 drops of golden jimsonweed juice. *5 drops of black jimsonweed juice. *4 drops of fantasy grass essential oil. *80 ml of red wine. When the woman read the formula could barely contain herself from humming with happiness. Storing the formula in her coat, the woman stood up again. I am selling 2 extraordinary objects. The first one is a revolver. Its abilities are that while you carry it, you will be able to move in the shadows without being detected, and you will make your steps extremely light. If a shot from this revolver hits a target, it will attract all the hatred of people within a radius of 10 meters. The negative effects are that the wielder will also be affected by the radius, and as long as one has the weapon on his body, the wielder will release an instigating aura that will make people around them more aggressive. The sealing method is to keep it in a silver container filled with cow's milk. The second one is a glove, and their abilities are: the user can transform a paper figure into themselves and swap places with the figure. It can not only block a fatal blow but also weaken the damage from hexes, and the second ability is Flame Jump. The user could phase through a fire spark that they had left behind and any flame that existed within 5 meters. The negatives are that the wearer will always be looking for praise from an audience, and if they don't get it in a long period of time, the wearer will lose control. Also, if it is worn for more than 20 minutes, the user will have a hard time taking it off, and if you wear it for more than 30 minutes, the only way to remove it is to break the bones of the hand. This will make the glove come off on its own. The sealing method is that every 3 hours you have to clap and praise the glove, saying, "What a wonderful show," for 10 minutes. This will make the glove go into a state of joy and sleep. The revolver costs £1,000 and the glove costs £2,000. Is anyone interested? As soon as she said that, the people who could afford to buy such an object began bidding like crazy, trying to get the glove. £2,100 for the glove. £2,150. £2,200. In the end, the glove went to a masked man for £3,400, and the revolver went to a woman for £1,700. As the price of the glove went up, it was not a surprise to anyone due to the abilities of the glove. Even the negative effects were quite controllable. Even Adrian wanted to buy it, but he was too poor. After that, a man got up and requested the purchase of Sheriff's formula, but no one had it. Seeing this, Adrian thought about whether to tell him that in order to find that formula, he would have to go with MI9, but he decided to keep it to himself. He didn't gain anything by telling him, and most likely he wouldn't listen to him. After an hour of trading that was not as intense as that of the gloves and the revolver, Mr. Eye of Wisdom rang the bell and marked the end of the meeting. The first to leave was the woman who sold the extraordinary items. The second was the one who bought the glove. The third was the one that bought the revolver. Then it was more random until it was Adrian's turn, and he was able to leave the party at 7:30 p.m. As he made his way to Braveheart's bar, Adrian weighed up his achievements. He managed to get the £800, and now he had the money to buy the formula for Mr. Grievous. You'd think, why didn't he try to buy the formula at Mr. A's party? And all Adrian would say is fuck. There are a lot of witches around that party, and Adrian didn't want to have the slightest contact with the party. He would only go there to get the main provoker ingredients, and he would never go there again unless he absolutely had to. Thinking about that, he finally reached the Braveheart's bar and entered and caught a glimpse of the corner where a petite blonde woman was sitting waiting, accompanied by a skinny man who, thanks to the senses brought on by the potion, could smell the alcohol emanating from his body. Seems like the day is only getting better. With a smile, he sat down facing the two people. Nice to meet you both. Let me introduce myself.
I'm Adrian.
Hello guys, author here. A quick note. What do you think of the extraordinary objects I just created? Do you think the negative effects are fair?
Tell me what you think.
Now there are only 3 more chapters left. See you in a minute. 19 Chapter 19. Making a Deal. Seeing the red-haired man in front of her, Zio couldn't help but straighten her back even more to appear taller. My informant told me that you were looking for me, so I came to see the reason for it. Despite her size, Miss Zio seriously has a majestic and dignified aura, without a doubt a worthy member of Mr. Fool's Club. Before answering Zio, Adrian turned to look at the man to the side. You have completed my commission, and as promised, here is your pay. Giving the £30 to the man, he said goodbye to Zio and went to the bar to buy something to drink. Being just the two of them, now Adrian could talk more calmly. I hope you can forgive the inconvenience I caused you so that you can meet with me, but I believe that we can benefit from each other. I can't see what you have to offer that can benefit me, Mr. Adrian. That's because I haven't shown what I can offer yet, Miss Zio. In fact, this deal can bring you great benefits. Tell me, Miss Zio, do you know anything about people with abilities beyond understandable? This made Zio visibly tense, and seeing this, Adrian decided to keep pulling. I am one of those extraordinary people, and I am looking to attend an extraordinary party, and I have a suspicion that you, Miss Zio, can help me with that. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mr. Adrian. Please, Miss Zio, you do little to hide the fact that you are also an extraordinary one.